just in. Picture a group of well-meaning adults sitting around a conference table, drinking lukewarm coffee and deciding that the solution to all their business problems is simply to get more leads. Someone casually suggests running paid ads, while another person enthusiastically points out that your biggest competitor is suddenly posting every single day on LinkedIn. You eventually adjourn the meeting, clutching a handful of exciting new tactics and a heart completely full of good intentions. A week later, everyone in your office is typing furiously and rushing to very important meetings, yet absolutely nothing has actually been finished. The crucial promotional email is still waiting on the landing page is waiting on the copywriter, the copy is waiting on final approval, and that final approval is waiting on some magical future date when the boss finally has free time. According to John Jantz from Duct Tape Marketing, you do not actually have a marketing problem. You have a workstream problem, which is just a polite way of saying your brilliant plan is permanently trapped in a group chat. This is the part of marketing everyone conveniently skips. Understanding why your projects constantly stall is the very first step toward building a system that actually works without your constant supervision. We absolutely love talking about strategy, but we consistently ignore the incredibly unglamorous mechanics of execution. That's where we introduce the workstream engine. As a StoryBrand certified guide and duct tape marketing consultant, I see this exact scenario play out constantly. A passionate team does all the heavy strategic work. They build a beautiful plan. They pick out the perfect campaigns. And then they stare blankly at the finished documents and realize they don't actually have a practical way to run it. There are no assigned roles, no weekly rhythms, no quality control, and absolutely no clear handoff between having a great idea and actually showing it to the public. So marketing simply becomes a frantic scramble. This is precisely where the workstream engine comes to the rescue. It exists specifically to remove that daily chaos. The workstream engine is the operational layer of your marketing where you clearly define how your work moves through your business. When you build this engine, your entire marketing plan no longer depends on fragile human memory, endless redundant meetings, or heroic last-minute saves. That brings us to the 5 pillars of getting things done. Breaking down your operational flow into 5 manageable categories that makes the entire concept of business systems feel much less like a corporate punishment. This includes roles, workflows, and standard operating procedures. To build a functional engine, you need to establish 5 specific elements. First, you must define clear roles and ownership. This is not about giving people fancy job titles like Vice President of Synergistic Ideation, but rather about deciding who takes actual responsibility for the brand and the growth campaigns. Second, you need explicit workflows and handoffs that detail exactly how a campaign moves from a vague idea to a public launch. You need to know exactly who writes the content, who reviews it, and who presses the final button. Third, you must create standard operating procedures. These are simple documents that prevent you from reinventing the wheel every single time you launch a campaign or train a new hire. Fourth, you need quality control to define what constitutes good enough. Otherwise, your core message will constantly drift depending on who had enough sleep that day. And finally, you have to honestly evaluate your capacity and constraints to ensure you actually have the right people and skills in-house to run the plan. Identifying these gaps is exactly how you stop stacking more responsibilities onto an already overwhelmed team. Here is a simple 30-minute fix. You do not need to pause your entire business for a month to build these systems. You can start creating incredible momentum right now with just one single sheet of paper. Let's look at documenting your first process. If you want to transition from chaotic hustle to smooth execution, try this remarkably simple exercise. Pick one campaign you are running right now and write down the answers to a few basic questions. Identify who owns the project, list the 5 to 7 steps required to make it live, and pinpoint exactly where the process usually gets stuck. Note the specific handoff that breaks most frequently and write down exactly what you would tell a brand new hire to do first. When you finish answering those questions, you have successfully created the beginning of a standard operating procedure. It will not be perfect, but it just needs to exist so you do not have to start from absolute zero next time. The final step is deciding on one weekly meeting or check-in rhythm that keeps the work moving predictably so you do not devolve into a monthly panic. If you want support getting your message simple and sharp so you can plug it directly into your new workstream engine, then start with my 5-minute marketing fix. It will give you one clear sentence that describes what your business does and why it matters. You can download it for free in the description below, or you can go to strategicmarketingtribe.com/fix. But what about you? What is the most ridiculous reason a project has stalled at your company? I'll go first. We once delayed a launch for 3 weeks because 2 managers could not agree on a specific shade of blue. Okay, your turn. What stalled your project? Let me know in the comments. I'm Vicky Sidler from the Strategic Marketing Tribe, and I post helpful news updates for small businesses every day.